This is day 2 of Advent of Code 2025, and this challenge is called Gift Shop. Get inside and take the elevator to its only other shop, the gift shop. Thank you for visiting the North Pole, gleefully exclaims a nearby sign. You aren't sure who is even allowed to visit the North Pole, but you know you can access the lobby through here, and from there you can access the rest of the North Pole base. As you make your way through the surprisingly extensive selection, one of the clerks recognizes you and asks for your help. As it turns out, one of the younger elves was playing on a gift shop computer and managed to add a whole bunch of invalid product IDs to their gift shop database. Surely, it would be no trouble for you to identify the valid product IDs for them, right? You've even checked most of the product ID ranges already. They only have a few product ID ranges, the puzzle input, that you'll need to check. So for example, this is 11 to 22, then 95 to 105, and so on. The ID ranges are wrapped here for legibility. In your input, they appear on a single long line. The ranges are separated by commas, and each range given its first ID and last ID separated by a dash. Since the young elf was just doing silly patterns, you can find the invalid IDs by looking for any ID which is made only of some sequences of digits repeated twice. So 55, 5 twice, 64, 64 is 64 twice, and 123, 123 is 123 twice. But all be invalid IDs. None of the numbers have leading zeros. 0101 isn't an ID at all. 101 is a valid ID that you would ignore. Your job is to find all of the invalid IDs that appear in the given ranges. In the above example, 11 to 22 has 2 invalid IDs, 11 and 22. 95 to 105 has 1 invalid ID, which is 99. 998 to 1012 has 1 invalid, which is 1010. This large one has 11885. 11885 is invalid. It says all 222s. There are none here. 4446, 446, 3859, 3859. Adding up all the invalid IDs in the example produces this number. So what do you get if you add up all the invalid IDs? Well, let's get started. So we are going to start off with this example one, just so we have an easier time working on it. So I changed how the directory layout is because C# was having issues. Input in C# like this, but then inside C# there's an AUC 2025 project and the rest of the code's inside of there. So I had to just quickly open up the parent directory to get to input here, and now we'll go back to day 2, and I've made it so we've got a program.cs like this, which uses the class in the file and then runs this. And I should also open up the terminal, which wasn't working yesterday but should be working now. If we go C# EC2025 and I say .NET run, that has ran. There is one single line. Actually, let me check the input. I copied it as multiple lines. Yeah, that looks like to be one single line, so let me just fix this. So it's all one line. So we've got all one line like that. And we need to split based on the commas. So let's do var ranges is equal to input dot split. Alright, we need to go input 0 dot split on the comma. Then let's do a dot select on that. So range, and then we'll do dot split on the dash. And let's take a look at this again. There doesn't seem to be any starting with a 0 like it's mentioned in the example. And we will then do, actually we'll just do that for now, and then we'll take a look at what we've got inside of ranges 0. So ranges, okay, that makes sense. IEnumerable, so it's not like this. Let's change this up to array. Now let's run it, see what it produces. 11. Okay, that makes sense. So from this, we then do a dot select, and we'll do n. We'll do a convert to long. We have that. Oh, we can do to double. Now let's take a look at what that is. Actually, I should probably do that in here, shouldn't I? Dot select. Turn that to double inside of here. So we'll do that and do to string. Okay, what is that? IEnumerable. Maybe we need to do that inside of here as well. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so that seems to be correct. So because of how large some of these numbers are, assume that we need to use a double. And let's just verify. So for each var range in ranges, let's do console.writeLine, and we'll do range 0 to range 1. And verify that looks as expected. Okay, good. Looks good. So we've got our ranges set up now. Actually, something I should probably do, make sure that the double data type actually works with the input. So just copy that, run it, and see if it still, okay, good. That works. So we now need to go through each of the ranges, check all of the numbers in that range, and verify if the number itself is like a double. So we'll start off with for each and var start end in ranges. I need to make this double. Actually, I don't need to do that. I can just do for each range and ranges. We need to do var double start is equal to range 0, then end is equal to range 1. Double id equals start, id is less than equal to end, and then id plus plus. So inside if we need to turn it into a string, so id string is equal to id dot to string. So for the only way that it can be double is if there are two equal halves. So we can check the length of it. So if id string dot length modulus 2 does not equal 0, we continue. So if it is half, we now need to know the actual length of the halfway point. So int half length is equal to id string dot length divided by 2. And now what we need to do is with the whole string, we compare the first half with the second half. And actually I need to record do double output is equal to 0. So we now need to compare the two halves. So if id string half length is equal to id string, actually should be using substring for this, dot substring. So go to 0, half index. This is equal to dot substring half length to the end. We then do output plus equals id. So we do that, then we get to the end. Let's do console.writeLine part 1. Let's do output. Okay, so hopefully that's all that needs to be done. So let's run and see what we get. 122777. That is the correct answer. So we will now, in our actual input, run it again, see what we get. We have this number here. So we'll copy that, submit, and that was correct. So we'll now go on to part 2. The clerk quickly discovers that there are still invalid IDs in the ranges in your list. Maybe the young elf is doing other silly patterns as well. Now, an ID is invalid if it is made only of some sequence of digits repeated at least twice. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 2 times. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 is 3 times. 1 2 1 2 so on is 4 times, and 7 times are invalid IDs. So from the same example above, this has 2 invalid IDs. And this one now has 2 invalid IDs of 99 and 1111. Okay, so now instead of it being half, you need to check all possible combination of numbers or the length of it. So if you're checking for one repeating number, you look at the first one, go to the next one, and if that's the same, you keep going to the end. If you're looking for 2, you go 1 2, then 1 2, so on. Okay, so there's more conditions now. So all 2s, 4 4 6, 4 4 6, 8 5 9. And this is 824, 824, 824. Okay, that makes sense, but we will need to change how we've currently done it. But we will be able to copy most of this. And instead of doing it how we've done it here, we keep this. We'll need to remove this condition. What we need to do is now iteratively go through the possible number of repeating patterns. So I guess the length of the current number. What numbers are divisible in it? That's what we need to look at. So we've got this. Let's do int length is equal to id string dot length. Let's now do for int pattern length is equal to 1. Pattern length is less than or equal to length divided by 2, and then pattern length plus plus. We then first check to see if it's divisible by this number. So if length modulus pattern length does not equal 0, we continue to the next length. So with this, let's create a copy of what the actual pattern is. So id string, and this will be just substring from 0 to the pattern length. And so we've got our pattern, we know the length, we need to check if every substring in this string is exact match of the pattern. So we will need to do for int repeat is equal to 1, then do repeat is less than what would this be? Length divided by pattern length, and repeat plus plus. So what we do is actually we need to keep, let's do bool is match is equal to true, and we'll do if pattern does not equal id string dot substring. This will be repeat times pattern length up to the length of pattern length. If this is the case, is match equals false. Then we break out of it, and then down here, whereabouts are we in this loop for this one? If it is a match, if is match, you'll add output plus equals ID, and then we'll break out of this loop. Does that make sense? I think it does. So we'll switch back to the initial values and we'll run it, see what we get. 417437, that looks correct. Cool, so we'll now switch to the actual input, run it, and we've got this number. So we'll copy that, submit it, and that was correct. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.